Welcome to the Ask Dom Nat show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, which is the fastest 30 minutes of your day to make you an overall more informed person. My name is Dominique Pereira, but you might know me as Ask Dom Nat. On today's show, it's going to be pretty straightforward, and it's actually really a continuation to the show from Monday. So let's get into the daily rundown, which is going to be May the 6th rundown show. What we are going to be doing today, guys, thank you for joining us today in this early morning. Also, we're going to be playing around with different time slots. I know we have viewers from all over. So tell me what time you guys think might be a good time to get this show going. But on Monday, May 6th rundown, hopefully you had a good Cinco de Mayo. We're going to be reacting to the ideas of reacting to farm ideas that make money. All right. So ultimately, everybody that watches the show, or if you're a regular watcher of the show, know that I have a farm. I'm trying to start a farm. I mean, I don't know if I can call it a farm really, but it's a place that I own with animals and employees. And bon dia, Mr. Fireball 619, an avid listener to the show, supporter of Theka Farms. We're actually starting some cool stuff over there. So this is going to be partly you will appreciate this episode because we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. So here's what happened. So this guy here, if you're seeing this, 250K a year, and you see he's holding some chickens. What happens a lot to me is that as I'm telling people, actually, I was going to stop telling people that I have a farm. I was going to just I was going to stop telling people what I have going on. And here's why: because everybody has suggestions. Everybody's like, Dom, do this or do that, right? Like it's there's a new LeBron James commercial that I saw where he's golfing. It's an earphones commercials. He's golfing and everybody's giving him advice. And he just puts his earphones on and just starts hitting it. And the ball's going everywhere, right? But he's just like tuning everybody out. But sometimes that's just how you get better, because ultimately, when I tell you I've thought about this farm more than for my particular farm, more than anybody else. But what I want to do is I want to listen to people. I want to hear everybody's input. That's fine. But I really want to listen to people who are in it, who are trying something, or who succeeded or failed, right? Tell me what has happened, what hasn't. Because you have people that are like, I was telling somebody I don't really sell eggs. They're like, oh, you got to sell eggs to make some money. Do you know how much money eggs doesn't make? So right now, what I wanted to do with you guys is I watched this channel called Upflip. Upflip is talks to different business owners, a laundromat, coffee shop owners, and this guy here, just episode that I was watching, with a guy who's doing $250,000 a year on his farm. I wish I could do $250,000. Our target right now is 120,000. Right now, 120,000. It might have to increase with the more animals we get, obviously, because the expenses go up. But right now, we're trying to do 120,000. So half of what they're doing. So what I want to do is just go over some aspects of this video of why on our pursuit to that 120,000, traditional farming is not it. Traditional farming is not the way I believe we're going to get there. So when people tell me you got to do that, you got to raise these chickens and sell meat and do birds, and I'm like, I can give these freaking eggs away Monday through Friday and it'll be the same as if I try to sell them until you get volume. So let's get right into it. Let's start reacting and playing this video.
Behind me is over 1,500 chickens, and I'm about to show you how this one guy turned a simple farming idea into making over $250,000 a year.
Happy.
And the crazy part is, he started with zero farming experience.
We started with just a few meat birds on our pasture, and now we're doing over 4,000 a year.
But it didn't start out like that, right? Because your first big farmer's market almost shut this whole thing down.
We showed up with 100 chickens, and in 5 hours, I made about $100. I thought it was the end.
Okay, cool. So right now, you see it started, it gave you the scale, and I'm gonna just skip to the next portion where he's doing 200, or he's doing 4,000 chickens a year. So remember that 4,000 freaking chickens a year. We have like under 100 right now between chickens and ducks. So the fact that he's doing 4,000 a year and 1,500 in the pasture right then and there. Now, he also said he started by himself. We're going to skip kind of the details of this video, but they're actually on his father-in-law's land. His father-in-law had the farm. Good for him. And he's a veterinarian. So he even has a leg up from where we started because we're paying for the land. Oh, hold on. We got some camera issues. Why? Looks like the camera was unplugged, people. Why technical issues? But so we don't have the luxury of, I have to pay for the land. There's nothing there. And he also already had the infrastructure, water, electricity, and all that other good stuff.
So what's the plan for today, Jack?
So we're basically
let's go to minute
2:15.
So 2:15 is where I wanted to.
So what's the plan for today?
Oh, maybe.
What do you have exactly going on here? Give our audience an overview of the entire operation, and of course we'll dive into
so you
the
can
details
get an idea of how many.
Yeah, so we have currently about 600 meat birds on our pasture. So they're grazing on our land, fertilizing it. We have
broilers.
500 egg layers, and then we have 2 Jersey cows, which will be milking in about 9 months, and then we have about 40 head of sheep.
Okay, so that's close to kind of the 40 head of sheep is really where we weren't 40 sheep because we had 20 something, but and then like 60 or 70 goats on our other spot, but I can't even sell those suckers. But so you see he had a couple hundred meat birds, like 400, 500 layers. So that's quite a bit of production for him. So we're not, it's not out of the realm of possibility. So now let's go to minute with all of that. This is a broiler, right? Like this is where they start off. We have this because we just need to start chickens somewhere, and then they're going to talk about all this production. But really what I want you guys to see is all the work that goes into, he does this every day in moving these meat birds, right? Like feeding them, moving them, making sure that they're taken care of. It's a lot of work. Then he does it himself. I can't do that. I'm here. I have a, off the farm job. So I have to pay somebody to do it. Somebody's salary has to go through all of this. So if I'm paying somebody, call it, $20 an hour to do farm work. Each one of those chickens, if I'm selling a chicken for $20, every hour that he's there, it's like I'm giving him a chicken. Oh, hold on. We got we got audio issues or video issues. Do we? Give me 1 second here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, guys. Look, I'm gonna change my camera setup to something else. Give us 1 second. Oh, okay. So now you guys could see me, but we're gonna just change the camera to my good old. We're gonna go this way, guys. We're gonna go this way with it. Okay. So what we're seeing here is if you are doing this yourself, okay, got it. But if I'm having to pay somebody to make sure that they're out there doing this work, the numbers have to make sense. So he's doing all this work. Got it. Where I want to take you guys to is, give me 1 second. Let me take you guys to minute. Where's my notes? Oh, okay, yeah, chicken coop is about 10 minute 10:30. 10:30. Skip there a little ad.
Time when things really went wrong, you had a big loss. Can you share about that a little bit?
Yeah, so our biggest loss we had was about 3 years ago. we were being smart and we thought we could
Yep.
raise birds all year round in these coops.
Yeah.
But that was a huge mistake. So these coops you can't raise in July and August because
Okay.
they basically become a hot box.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Which
And,
is a big part
we
of the
didn't know
year.
that, and we lost about 50% of our birds. So at the time we had about 300, and I lost about 150 in one day from heat stroke. It was
Okay, so one thing to take note of over here is that in that year he lost 50% of his birds because in July and August it was super hot. All right, so the problem with farming and doing these events or doing these activities is when it's winter, the dead of winter, it's too cold. When it's the dead of summer, it's too hot. Like you need this Goldilocks period. That's why spring and fall is so important to farmers, because when you're talking about how much money you make as a farmer, people always just look at the top line number. Well, that top line number, then you got to reduce all of your expenses, all of this and that. But and on top of that, you got to reduce the losses that you've had in years prior. You carry over some of those losses for years. So the fact that he lost 150 birds that year, the next year he had to hopefully make that up somehow. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Oh, let's see here. How do we get back to that? So let's unmute it.
So these coops you can't raise in July and August because they basically become a hot box.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And we didn't know that, and we lost about 50% of our birds. So at the time we had about 300, and I lost about 150 in one day from heat stroke. It was probably
2, 3, 4 grand.
It was about 9 grand that batch, and
That
then
much, okay.
and
9 grand lost.
4,500, and that was why we transitioned over to the big coop.
Okay,
Because we can
so now the reason that's important is because when people watch these videos or they watch other farm videos, they're like, Dom, why don't you raise chickens, this and that? Which we will. We have some broiler chickens. We bought a coop like this as well. The reason we don't do the small ones is because I've heard mixed reviews on it. I don't want to move those suckers by hand. You saw he had 6 or 8 of them lined up. I don't have time to move 6 or 8 of them every day. He moves them every day. I'd rather invest in something larger and then move it one time, or have my guy move it one time. Then you saw that manual labor being moved every day. Not efficient. He bought this. Now he can do. I know people that do up to 400 birds in here at one time. We actually bought one. You'll be surprised how expensive these are. But the one we bought was kind of just a cheap old one, and it collapsed during the snow time. So it is what it is.
raise those year round.
I mean, we're not even a quarter way in to what needs to be done today, right?
Yeah. We still got a long way to go, and this right here is just a start. It's just a small part of what we've got going on this farm, and now we're going to get to the really big stuff.
We haven't even seen the hard stuff yet.
So it's basically, if you watch the entire video,
Let's bring it on.
you know, they started the day off doing some farming chores and this and that, which is normal, but they're not even close to done. So this guy could spend all day just handling these animals.
On pasture at one time, and we're able to have more impact on the land, give more customers.
I want to get to how many birds they get and how much it costs.
That gives us more revenue with our pasture poultry operation.
I'm a little confused because I don't run a farm. Like, can't I just have an acre of land, put a net over it, and let the chickens do their thing?
You can, if you wanted to do that, you could.
Yeah, bad idea. Bad idea. They're going to destroy your grass. They're going to run everywhere. It's horrible to manage.
Focusing on sections of our pasture to help put the fertilizer, the natural fertilizer, which is their poop.
I see.
And we're putting them onto new sections, and we're kind of it's kind of a controlled system of fertilizing, giving fresh grass and bugs and exercise, and it gives them protection 24/7.
So what's the downside? Just net over an acre?
Well, I'm going to tell you guys what the downside of just putting chickens and free ranging them like this. If you notice, these chickens here look different. They're a different color, right? These red sex links. You see how agile they are. They can run. When you're doing meat birds, they're typically a breed called Cornish cross or a different breed, but it's a meat bird breed. They grow extremely fast. Their muscle development and their bone density. It's not conducive to running, escaping predators. If you see the difference, the way these chickens operate, they're running and blah, blah, blah. If they see a predator, they skirmish. Those other ones, they're just laying. They sit most of the time. They are a sitting duck, right? Metaphorically, for predators. It'll be a bloodbath.
They'll destroy that acre.
I see.
They'll completely
So you got to
decimate.
control them.
You do,
Yeah, and then let's get to how
chickens will
much
tear stuff
that
up.
setup
So
costs.
if you leave them in one area,
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to let him finish talking about that. But let's get to how much all of this setup costs.
it's controlled. It helps us move them, keep them clean, healthy, and happy.
Nice. Let's talk about cost. What did it cost you guys to set this thing up?
You
So this
more
here
than
was
you think.
about- It was about $10,000 to buy, plus labor. So I'm gonna say it's probably about 15 grand just to get this whole system in place
Mhm.
before we even got chickens in here.
Okay.
15
What are some
grand.
features. So you have
for
the
a
basic
cage.
feed, you have the water.
Yep.
Looks like a sled, so we're gonna haul it, move it with the tractor.
Yep. My favorite feature of this is being able to control the sides. So when it's really cold
Mm-hmm.
and windy, we can roll these sides down, protect them
Nice.
from the wind.
Okay, so this cage you see here costs 15 grand, people. How many chickens do you think you're going to have to sell to net 15 grand back just for that? This is before now the operational cost, the running cost of having everything. Then they're going to move it and all this and that. We're going to get to minute 16, 16 and 40. Yeah. So it's a large capital expenditure. Now, imagine if you are in a place like I am, where I bought the property, where I bought the infrastructure, where I'm paying for labor, where I'm paying for. You saw he was pulling that with a tractor, right? Like that tractor is not cheap either. Then you got to buy the chicken, the feed. He mentioned the water. Yeah, we have to harvest water. There, if the Nelkis or Mr. Fireball 613 has come out there, and you see how many. Sorry, Mr. Fireball 619, not 613. 613 is our enemy. 619 is our friend. But water is a difficult thing, and it's great when we have plenty of it available, but when it's a drought and it's expensive to get water in, because I have to truck it in and all this and that for the animals. So it's a very large expense to just get 500 chickens roaming in that field, and you're looking at years to make it back. Let's play it.
Isn't that beautiful? Here, get back in there.
We have 500 egg layers in here. They're red
500
sex
egg layers.
links. So they should lay roughly about 380 eggs a year each.
Wow. What does that translate to? How many eggs per day?
He said 380 eggs. I don't think that's right. He said 380 eggs each. I was thinking maybe 280 eggs is what he wanted to say, because a bird lays an egg about every 26 hours, and then they go through a molting period. So they're laying like at 85%. So they're not laying multiple eggs a day or laying every day. So the fact that there's 365 days out of the year, I find it very, that's like be very weird for a bird to lay 380 eggs in a year. But let me know if any bird people out there think that that's actually accurate. But he's going to talk about his percentage of lays.
Per week, or how do you count it?
So we're currently at about an 80 to 85% lay rate. So we're looking at about 400 to 425 eggs a day.
Wow.
Yeah, see, so the fact that he has 500 birds and they're laying 400 eggs a day, the math wouldn't add up if it was 385. So I think it was 285 that he meant.
What's your revenue from the eggs alone? I know.
Okay, tell me what you guys think. All right, he has 500 birds out there. You see that fancy trailer back here that costs him thousands of dollars. You see all the work that he gets through. These fences, you see these electric fences in the background. Tell me how much you think those freaking electric fences cost. Because I have a couple of them. They're about 164 feet Premier One fences. They're like $200 each fence. So for a paddock like this, you're looking at like $1,000 in fencing. Tell me what you think, how much he makes out of these freaking birds.
Down the numbers a little later, but
so we're looking at about $1,700 a week in eggs.
And this is the high peak of production or a low?
This is the build up.
This is the build up.
Okay.
Okay.
We're not quite at full production yet.
$1,700.
They're pecking me. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously,
A
I don't have
week
anything.
in
I
eggs.
made a mistake wearing shorts. So
Oh. All right. What do we?
Now, $1,700 a week in eggs. Okay. Does that sound like a lot? Does that, you're like, okay, 500 birds, $1,700 a week in eggs. Does that sound like a lot? Now, think about it this way. You're like, okay, that's decent, but I want you guys to have an entrepreneurial mind. For 500 birds, if you make 50 grand a year, you're making about $1,000 a week, right? 52 technically. But let's say you're making $1,000 a week. If I have to pay somebody $1,000 a week for easy numbers, that means that I can have somebody out there paying them $1,000 a week to take care of these birds. And that's going to be to feed them, to watch them, to move them, to collect the eggs, to package the eggs. And these eggs need to then be put somewhere to sell them, right? Like you see the logistics that go behind running a business. It's not just, okay, and I'm paying them $1,000 a week. What am I making? I'm making $700 a week, right? Like that's the difference. That's the difference. Now, that's the top end revenue. That's the top line, because there's going to be losses, right? Like you said, we have 1 year that we lost a lot of chickens. We had 1 year. What if there's an outbreak, there's a flu? You always have to think about what's going to go wrong, right? Your machine's going to break. So now out of that $700 a week, I need to start putting some of that aside. But before I even put it aside, guess what? I don't own this land outright. I have to pay the bank. And I'll tell you one thing, $700 a week right now isn't enough to pay my property. So 500 chickens is out of the questions of what is even going to come close to sustaining what I need to do. So $700 a week on the revenue, that's if I have one person working full-time every day. Not too many people want to work 7 days a week. Not too many people never get sick, never go on vacation, never have something come up. So guess what? If you leave these chickens out there by themselves without food, water, whatever, these are domesticated animals. They will not survive very long without human intervention. So you need to have now redundancies in place. So that $700 a week, I need to take out $100 as an aside to be able to call somebody and to fill in Saturdays and Sundays, or to help me out, or to whatever. Also, I have my mortgage, I have my water. Well, water bill, if you're on a well, you won't have it, but you have to pay back the bank for everything. If you have to take a loan or put it on a credit card to get this trailer, to get this whatever, you're not making a lot of money off these suckers at all. You're losing money at this point. And then that's before they start dying.
What do we need to do to move them over to the other side?
So we're going to get their feed troughs.
Look at them moving it by hand.
Over there, we're going to feed them, and then we can get them out of the way, and then we're going to move this.
Then we move that last.
Yeah.
Let's go check out.
Now, and then remember, $1,700 a week isn't even including, I just told you have to pay your guy about $1,000 a week to just take care of these suckers. That's not including feed. Feed is expensive, people, right? Like you're paying to feed these birds. So, but the good thing is this is only one aspect
setup before we do that, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So,
all right, ladies, come on. I don't want to crush anybody. Why do you have the geese out here? Are they here to protect the chickens?
Geese are
they're
cool.
here so you can hear them.
So now one thing I do want to show you guys.
So obviously
we have these boxes. I'm gonna play it, but we have boxes and whatever because I'm trying to get here. So when people are like, "Oh, Dom, why don't you do this or why don't you do that?" Because I already know, I've done my research that this will not get me closer to being financially stable. The eggs won't make me any money, right? Like it won't make me money. Somebody will pay me $1,700 to just do an event at the property, and I don't have to deal with. And remember, when you have chickens, they don't start laying right away. They take about 4 or 5 months before they start laying eggs. So those 4 or 5 months, you're just paying for all of this anyways without having them lay eggs. And then look at all that freaking fencing. If you don't believe me, just Google Premier One poultry fencing. Start seeing how much that costs.
It takes me by myself to do this, that roughly takes about 1.5 to 2 hours.
Okay, and you pick the eggs daily. So let's go.
And then look at that tractor. I bought a tractor. Those things are yeah. That's the MX 5200 Kubota. He doesn't have the closed cab. I do have the closed cab. A little bit more expensive. Probably should have saved my money.
Check it out.
But and then he's gonna go into. Let me see. Let me look at my notes. 50 minute 62, like he's cleaning. That's cleaning the poop there. I will say he does explain. I will encourage you guys to go watch the video. Explains washed eggs versus non-washed eggs, something that I've learned once I started doing chickens myself. But look, collecting it in buckets, that little thing, I don't know if that's diesel or gasoline, but you're gonna, the cost of diesel is freaking expensive. Look, he has a label maker, and there's a way that you have to sell eggs. You have to put your label on it, the date, there's time keeping, a record keeping aspect to it. So there's an administrative cost to doing all of this. And if you're doing it by yourself, you're just thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I because you're not making a lot of money at all. So let's hear what they're saying.
Yeah, so if we go to like Myrtle Beach, we'll wash and clean them.
What's the bulk of unwashed direct to consumer versus restaurants?
80-20. I mean, we don't
80 customers, 20
mostly direct to consumer.
Nice.
Everything is us to there.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'd want untouched, unwashed. I'll take care of it.
That's the thing. That's why.
So you see, he's not selling to restaurants that much. It's 80% consumers and 20% restaurants, and that's important. Why? Because when you're selling 80% to consumers, how many touch points do you think you're going to have to sell these eggs? Right? Like you're now interacting with I don't know, if you're selling 100 dozens, they're interacting with 80 different consumers, and then a restaurant might buy a large bulk, but they also want a bigger discount because they're buying in bulk, and the restaurant needs to make money on their margins. Consumers, whether they pay $1 more or $1 less, it really doesn't matter to them because it's just they're the end consumer. So you'll make more money. Now these guys here,
and that's Opal.
Hey, Opal.
So they are bred, and they should be milking in October. So we'll be getting raw milk from them.
Okay, I'm gonna mute this part and I just explain it to them. Because he's explaining about his sheep.
Lambing in about 2 weeks.
Wow,
So
busy.
Yeah, it gets busy in April.
Why get just 2 cows for milk? What are you gonna do with it?
Because it is a huge venture.
Okay, so he has 2 cows right now. And people ask us if we're gonna get cows. I have we're gonna let this play. I have 5 cows in my other place right now. They're not at Theka Farms. I have 5 of them. They just eat a lot, and cows are expensive, right? Like you can spend $1,000, $2,000 on a cow, and then they grow slowly, so it takes a couple years.
So for a bred
like
jersey.
this one here, it's $6,000 for one cow.
The sheep up close. Watch out for
$6,000 for one cow. How much milk do you think you're gonna have to sell to fricking get your money back for one cow? And then they eat a lot.
Again, that's something new we're getting into. So we got them on our rental field, which is 15 acres, just like that. But they have taught us so much about the quality of our pastures.
Hold on,
that's
let me
why
see here.
When we had them, we realized we needed to get chickens because our pastures were so
Okay,
poor.
so he right now just talking about how the sheep don't really make him any money. We have sheep too. They don't make me any money at all right now, but they're good for the pastures. People like them. Again, we're just selling experiences. But let me get into the last part of this video that I wanted to share with you guys is, well, how much money is this guy making, right? Like, so
I think for 2026, maybe can you maybe take the full year of 2025 and give us the total revenue, or what do you expect for 26?
I'm gonna just shut up and let you guys make your own conclusion.
Net profits after all expenses and everything.
Sure. So this year we're projected to do between about 250 to 270,000.
Not
so
bad.
Again, we're not huge scale, but we're building our blocks every year and we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And you have 4 categories of meats, right?
So we have 4 categories of meat, which is poultry, chicken.
Yeah.
We have lamb. We have beef, and then I guess you factor in eggs as
okay. Help us understand how much comes from each of those categories.
So the chicken, we're looking at doing about 140,000 It's our biggest chunk of the whole system. Our eggs, we're looking at doing
And that's
between
meat
80 and
chickens.
85,000. Lamb, we're looking at about 10.
That's it.
Yep.
Small.
Because we don't have a whole lot of them, we probably only going to process about 30 this year, and we'll get about 350 a head.
You're at 230 so far.
Yep. So and then beef, we're looking at about 30,000.
Okay, so that's 260.
Yeah, you're at 275.
Oh, 275.
Very doable.
Yep.
Let's look at the expenses. The list
275.
is quite long, but you have feed, livestock, chicks, processing, packaging, labor, equipment repairs, fuel, transport, marketing. Can you give us?
Okay, guys, I want you guys to he skimmed through all of that, right? Look at, okay, so he's at 275. That's how much money he's gonna make. But look at the expense of all of that, right? Like feed, livestock, that's actually buying. Remember those cows cost $6,000 each. The chicks, I spent $600 on buying chickens a couple of weeks ago just to keep us going. Eventually, you're going to start raising your own chicks. But remember, I said it takes a month before they start whatever. Packaging, labor. Look at all this. What he doesn't have here is some of the ancillary costs of administration, right? Like you need insurance, you need marketing, and people getting to know you. You need, if you're not buying the land, if you're leasing it, some leases are pretty cheap, but there's infrastructure, hard infrastructure, like getting a water well or those fences, or if you've been to Teka Farms, you see the excavators and the freaking road project that I have that costs so much money. There's a lot of other expenses that come along with it. So he made 275 this year, and we'll see how much he keeps.
Can you give us just an overall view of 275 is what we expect? Let's take out all the expenses. What are we left over with?
So in the end, we're at about 15% usually profit. So that's about 35,000 in net profit.
Yeah, 41,250 if you get to 275.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it's not a lot of people probably watch.
$41,000 in net profit, guys. All of that. You made $275,000, and he's making $41,000 in net profit. Right? That's what would come to me if I went and did this operation as the owner. Okay, net profit, $41,000. Now, I don't even think he really even included his own labor in there, to be very honest, because he is the, so to speak, owner. So that $41,000 might just be his salary.
Seeing be like, well, that's not
probably
not very good. Like, all this work, and is it really worth it? But it's not so much like we talked about. We're not looking to become this multi-million-dollar business and take over the world with this, but we just want something that we can feed people real food, give people an avenue to access that, and it's just a lifestyle, man. You just love doing it.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to find out of all the expenses, what is the most expensive that makes up that 75%?
Feed.
Yeah, really?
Feed's a huge.
For the cows, for the land, everybody.
Mostly chickens, because our chickens, each batch of 400 is going through, 6,000 pounds of feed. We got
feed is expensive, guys. So, and then that machine right there that you're looking at, that's an expensive machine.
It's going to be between $5,000 to $6,000.
He's spending $6,000 a month.
Would it be the eggs or something else?
The eggs would definitely be the most profitable for us, just simply because of the weekly cash flow we're getting. So
I don't know that he's using profitability in the right way. He might be. It's obviously his business, but because he's saying the eggs are profitable in the way that it brings in consistent cash flow, right? Because when you're processing a chicken, you have to, the chicken, when you get Cornish crosses, it takes about 8 weeks before you butcher them. So you go 8 weeks without getting any money, then you butcher it, then you sell it, then you have your money come in. So you might get paid once every 2 months if you stack it up properly. But your expenses, you remember, you have employees, you have bills, you have everything. So your expenses, cash flow is very important in business. It's not just those large chunks of money. But like he said, he's not doing this to make a lot of money. It's more of the lifestyle, which is very, very important when I'm talking to people and they're telling me, okay, you should do this, you should do that. We're gonna take this. We can take this off. Okay. So because the reason being is because at the end of the day, the farming avenues aren't set up right now in this country for you to get rich or make money unless you go into industrial scale, because at that time then you might be producing your own feed. You might be, you know, I don't know. There's a lot. Economics of scale is a real thing, and he's just not there. I'm certainly not there. So we're doing it in a way that it's not making sense economically. It's a lifestyle asset. But for me, I need to make money to make it sustainable, or else eventually I will run out of money running at a deficit. So I'm looking at how can I make enough money, in my case, $120,000 a year. That's our operating cost without all of this. He has 275,000, but he has a lot more animals, so his fees are a lot higher. Me, I have employees and other infrastructure that he doesn't have. So it's not a one-to-one equation. The more animals we add, the higher our costs go. So I want to add revenue without adding too much cost. So that's why I'm not looking to add too many more animals. I'm looking to add other revenue producing ventures like agritourism, which will allow people to come in and pay me $1,500, or in this case, we're actually renting the place out for $2,000 a day, especially during the season. So $2,000 a day, hopefully Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I can make $6,000 if I rent it and I market it properly. That $6,000, I mean, I don't know how many chickens I would have had to have to make $6,000. I don't even know. Well, I'll tell you, if you sell on the high end a dozen eggs, let's say $2,000, if you sell a dozen eggs for $7, you're going to need 275 dozen, 285 dozen eggs to make $2,000, which I can make off of one group. So 285 dozen, like, cartons of eggs. There's 12 of those in there. So let's see here. How will we do that to figure out how many chickens we need? So 285 dozen eggs divided by 12. No, so I went completely dumb on this math. So if I have 285 dozen eggs, and then I want to know how many chickens I need for that. So I divide that by 12. That doesn't sound right. So 23 chickens will lay me 23 chickens will lay about 20 eggs or so. Whatever the math is. I for some reason I can't think about it right now. But at the end of the day, a chicken lays one egg per day, more or less. So you would need, if you have 100 chickens, you're getting more or less like 80 to 100. Even if you're at a completely 100% lay rate, you're getting 100, or call it 120 chickens. That's a good number there. Nice round number. 120 chickens. You're getting 100 dozen eggs. 100 cartons of eggs a day. And yeah, no, that's still half of what you need to make $2,000 every day. Right. And now if you do that every day, of course you can start making some decent amount of money, but still not enough. Still not enough. I'm trying to think where does it really make sense? Now I got wacky with the math. I don't know why, but at the end of the day, you need a lot of freaking chickens. And I saw another video that basically said, like, at what point, I will say there was one place here that he said, like, oh, you can start with 50 chickens. You can't start with 50 chickens. Where's a good place to start with 50 chickens? Right? Like, you need to have a lot of space, meaning that not this much, but you need to have a decent amount of space, live in the suburbs to have 50 chickens. And then you're not selling 50 freaking chickens, or 50 eggs to make any decent amount of money. Remember, they're only $7 freaking a dozen. It's not that much money relative to what people are used to paying at the grocery store. Some people will pay you more just to support a small farm. Obviously, that's a great thing. But when you're competing with, next time you go to the freaking grocery store too, look at how much Sam's Club or Walmart is selling those rotisserie, antibiotic up, steroided up chickens already cooked in a bag. It's like $7. $7. I mean, now you're probably buying a lot of, you're not probably, you're definitely buying a lot of non-natural things in there. So people aren't used, it's already cooked at $7. So imagine now trying to get $20 for an uncooked one. It's a mess. It's a mess. And what he didn't show is you need the pluckers, right? Like you need to be able to kill those chickens or harvest them, depuck them, bag them, whatever, right? It's a mess. That's not how I believe we're going to make money. Not at all. I haven't met a rich farmer doing this at all. Now there's rich conglomerates that own like 1 million chickens a year. Yeah, 100%. I don't want to get to that level. That's not what I'm trying to do. So all of that to say, the reason why we're focusing on agro-tourism and agro events is simply because of the math. The math on agricultural products doesn't work as cleanly as selling experiences to these agricultural products. But that's the video I wanted to share with you guys today. Hopefully you got something out of it. I appreciate everybody watching the Ask Domnat show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern. The fastest 30 minutes of your day to make you an overall more informed person. Sorry for the technical glitches, but it happens, and I appreciate you. See you next time. My name is Dominique Pereira, but you might know me as Ask Domnat.